Boise has a thriving bicycle community. I remember leaving my driveway and turning onto the pavement for the first time and feeling like my world had expanded. All of a sudden, like the world seemed to slow down a little bit. There's so many opportunities and doors that those bicycles are opening, and that's what a lot of our program around. We make sure that everybody has access to all these things that a bicycle can bring and the connection that it can bring to the community.
To have a program like this one that brings community together, and you just can't overstate the importance of that.
My name's Jimmy Halliburton. I'm the executive director and co-founder of the Boise Bicycle Project. We first started the Boise Bicycle Project in 2007. And so really early on, we wanted to make sure that everybody, regardless of income, had access to bicycles, bicycle repair, and bicycle education. We're constantly trying to figure out who doesn't have a bicycle that needs one. Who else can benefit from these? And how can we make sure that we create a pathway for them to have these opportunities? So people come in and they use our space, and we don't fix bicycles for people, we teach people how to fix their own bikes. So we put the tools in their hands, and then our mechanics can guide them through the process. So whether that's, homeless folks or refugees who are new to our community, or people who are getting out of prison who maybe have the cards stacked against them anyway, we know that all these people have these places that they need to go where there's opportunities just waiting for them. Like all they have to do is open the door, but they got to get there first. And I think that that's really one of the things that unites people about the Boise Bicycle Project. The simple act of teaching somebody how to fix a flat tire could be changing that person's day, and maybe even beyond. Maybe they're changing that person's life. Maybe that person fixes that flat tire and then they're going to a job interview and they're getting that first job. You get to see that empowering experience unfold. I think everybody who's been involved with the Boise Bicycle Project came in for a variety of different reasons. It is a place where we're building community. We're making our community a better place to live on a daily basis, and people feel that. And what you start to realize is that people are a lot more similar than they are different. They can have a lasting impact, and they can create change.
Boise Bicycle Project is a huge asset to the community, and I think that the community in return is an asset to the Boise Bike Project.
If you have the ability to make your community better for yourself and everyone else that's living in it, why wouldn't you want to be part of that? And why would you want to be doing anything else?
It's an amazing partnership, and we're just really fortunate to have them here.
I think that a lot of people are oftentimes looking to be part of something bigger. I think that that's what really excites me about this town, is that we can make it what we want it to be. There's so many great things going on, but there's so much potential to help establish an identity.
When someone's coming to prison for the first time, that can be pretty terrifying. When women come here, they're broken. They've lost their children, their families, their jobs. They have very low self-esteem and lack of confidence. One of my goals is to make sure that we are rebuilding them. We're providing them something to care for and nurture, providing them opportunities to serve. The more that they can focus on doing that kind of service, that it increases their capacity to care for others and what's going on out in the community.
You've never quilted in my life.
Yeah, that's awesome. It looks
So our Shifting Gears program is maybe one of the favorite things that I think I've ever been a part of with the Boise Bicycle Project. You know, we've had a problem with people who've been getting out of prison are in desperate need of a bicycle. So Shifting Gears teaches women how to work on kids' bikes and really designed to make sure that when they get released, that they've already earned a bicycle from the bike project for their own transportation.
We have our little shed out here, and we have the bikes, and the tools are out here, and they can just wrench on bikes, and they don't have to deal with the drama. They don't have to deal with all the pressure inside. They can get away from all their worries.
Okay.
I mean, it's kind of wild to think about that the bike project is actually making a difference within a prison program. And I think what's even a little bit wilder to think about is that they've given us such access. And the Idaho Department of Corrections should really be given a lot of credit.
You can see a difference in their demeanor and their attitude, and you know, life isn't so bleak by being in prison.
It's a good sign. We still like it.
You know, we're doubling the amount of bicycles that we're able to donate to kids in the community because these gals are fixing them up. And I get goosebumps now just talking about it. Now we've got it so that the gals who've been working on these bicycles actually come down to the shop when we give the bicycles away.
Initially, they're very anxious. They don't know what to expect. They go and they just forget about everything. They're so excited.
Yep, Stanley made it.
And so now these gals get to sort of see full circle, you know, the difference that they're making in the community, and they see the smiles on the kids' faces.
You like your bike? It's nice. Look at
To actually get to see the kid who goes on that bicycle, I think is pretty incredible.
Oftentimes, there's not a dry eye in the group.
There you go.
I didn't know if I had it.
I think a dream come true for me is for people to see the success of this program. And it's working great, and it's making a difference in the lives of, you know, hundreds of kids and all the women that are participating. Why can't it exist, you know, in a prison in San Diego or somewhere in Chicago?
Are you guys almost ready to ride your bicycles?
Yes, sir.
Great, peace down, great.
It's the most rewarding thing that I have done, I think, in all of my career. The outcome, it has just been so rewarding and so fulfilling for these girls, for myself.
Biking in the city has made me a more independent, confident person. It's funny to say that, but when you know that you can navigate and get from point A to point B in a city like LA and get home in one piece, day after day, week after week, you feel rewarded and you feel like you can kind of take on the challenges of the day. Riding for the first time in LA was an adventure. things that you see on a bicycle you just can't see from a car, and there's so much going on when you're behind the wheel of a car that it really limits your view. I thought this town was flat, like I really didn't know what I was getting into when I moved here, and it is so not flat. I just feel like a kid when I discover like a new place here. This city has such an interesting history of how it was settled, and by biking I kind of uncover just all kinds of kind of hidden treasures. This city could be a dangerous city for cycling for just kind of those reasons that you find in a lot of major cities. It just wasn't designed thinking about cyclists. Bike lanes sort of have a way of ending. There are so many different buses, car doors, tourists, people that are taking lefts when they meant to take rights, cutting across 3 lanes of traffic, potholes, you name it, we have that obstacle here. After 11 years of living here, it's been fun. It's like onion layers where it just peels off. Like roads lead to gravel roads, and gravel roads lead to dirt roads that lead to dirt trails, and you can kind of just keep going. I think the vastness of LA means that there is always going to be a new place to explore. As you pedal out of town into the mountains, you shed all the craziness of everything that happened during the day, all the emails, the phone calls, the honking horns, the sirens, all of that kind of gets left behind, and you can really go to a place that's quiet. You really can find quiet here. The best gift is being able to ride the city on a bike. I think there's always something left to go back to. There's always going to be a turn you didn't take and a mountain you didn't climb. So unless I can ride till I'm 250 years old, I probably won't see it all.
You know, I think the original collection was probably like most kids, you know, doing the baseball card thing. And then I started hitting the road a lot when I was 18 and fell in love with national parks and getting the national park passport. And then the stamp was just not enough, and decided to get, you know, iron-on patches. And from there it spawned into spoons and concert tickets and baseball tickets from games I went to. You know, I think when people come over to have a beer or just to hang out, play a board game, the general reaction is, oh, you collect spoons. And then it's like, yeah, totally, you know, it's hilarious. And then sometimes I'll blame my wife. It's like, it's really my wife's collection. She's really good. Deep down, it's totally me. And then at some point it turned into this crush penny machine thing, because it just seems odd that you would spend 50 cents to crush a perfectly good penny. It's like this 500% markup, so I couldn't resist that. You get off of doing a hike and walk into the visitor center, and then you get to see that awesome crush penny in the corner. How do you not want to like preserve that for the rest of the time? I don't know what it is, man. I think a lot of the collectibles each remind me of a story that I had or that I was a part of, and you have to go and do the thing. Like, you got to go to the zoo or the botanical gardens or the Disneyland. Like, you got to go and experience it to really crush the pain and earn it. I am a purist. Some of the spoons and stuff have been gifts from, you know, people traveling international stuff, which I totally treasure and love, but the most purist I am about is the patches. But yeah, I think people find it odd. But then when people are checking it out, it does allow a little bit of a platform to actually tell the story. You can pick out any of them, and I guess this goes for every piece of my collection, and I can tell you a story of when I got it, who I was with, maybe even what the weather was. But really, they just evoke all these stories and memories. You know, the wife and I do a lot of traveling. Any chance we get, I'll probably end up working in a souvenir store and turn the next generation on and crushing pennies. I traveled to Alcatraz with some of my Carney brothers on the Tour de Fat, and they actually sold spoons. The Carneys helped me actually fashion that into an engagement ring, which I proposed to my wife on the stage at the San Diego Tour de Fat years ago with it. She's super proud. Oh, the future is bright. We're gonna have a lot more collectibles. The more we travel, the more we're gonna collect. Like, this is never gonna stop. Someday you walk into this house and it's gonna look like an antique mall. It's like everything. There's gonna be too much stuff to look at. Everyone has their thing. Like, we are all weird. Like, it's something about each of us individually is totally weird. And I've just accepted the fact that I like this stuff, you know, like, it just reminds me of, you know, a moment in time that hopefully I won't need all these things to remember when I'm 80 years old, but I'm just bright and happy.
Boise has a thriving bicycle community. I remember leaving my driveway and turning onto the paved road for the first time and feeling like my world had expanded. All of a sudden, like, the world seemed to slow down a little bit. There's so many opportunities and doors that those bicycles can open, and that's what a lot of our programs revolve around. To make sure that everybody has access to all these things that a bicycle can bring and the connection that it can bring to your community.
To have a program like this one that brings community together, you just cannot overstate the importance of that.
My name's Jimmy Halliburton. I'm the executive director and co-founder of the Boise Bicycle Project. We first started the Boise Bicycle Project in 2007. And so really early on, we wanted to make sure that everybody, regardless of income, had access to bicycles, bicycle repair, and bicycle education. We're constantly trying to figure out who doesn't have a bicycle that needs one. Who else can benefit from these? And how can we make sure that we create a pathway for them to have these opportunities? So people come in and they use our space, and we don't fix bicycles for people, we teach people how to fix their own bikes. So we put the tools in their hands, and then our mechanics can guide them through the process. So whether that's, you know, homeless folks or refugees who are new to our community, or people who are getting out of prison who maybe have the cards stacked against them anyway, we know that all these people have these places that they need to go where there's opportunities just waiting for them. Like, all they have to do is open the door, but they got to get there first. And I think that that's really one of the things that unites people about the Boise Bicycle Project. The simple act of teaching somebody how to fix a flat tire could be changing that person's day, you know, and maybe even beyond. Maybe they're changing that person's life. Maybe that person fixes that flat tire and then they're going to a job interview and they're getting that first job. You know, you get to see that empowering experience unfold. You know, I think everybody who's been involved with the Boise Bicycle Project came in for a variety of different reasons. It is a place where we're building community. You know, we're making our community a better place to live on a daily basis, and people feel that. And what you start to realize is that people are a lot more similar than they are different. They can have a lasting impact, and they can create change.
Boise Bicycle Project is a huge asset to the community, and I think that the community in return is an asset to the Boise Bike Project.
You know, if you have the ability to make your community better for yourself and everyone else that's living in it, why wouldn't you want to be part of that? And why would you want to be doing anything else?
It's an amazing partnership, and we're just really fortunate to have them here.
I think that a lot of people are oftentimes looking to be part of something bigger. I think that that's what really excites me about this town, is that we can make it what we want it to be. There's so many great things going on, but there's so much potential to help establish an identity.
Hey folks, just want to give you a 5-minute warning that I'm going to start talking, but I don't want to stop the conversations now. So, thanks. Sorry about that. Okay?
Biking in the city has made me a more independent, confident person. It's funny to say that, but when you know that you can navigate and get from point A to point B in a city like LA and get home in one piece, day after day, week after week, you feel rewarded and you feel like you can kind of take on the challenges of the day. Riding for the first time in LA was an adventure. Things that you see on a bicycle you just can't see from a car, and there's so much going on when you're behind the wheel of the car that it really limits your view. I thought this town was flat, like I really didn't know what I was getting into when I moved here, and it is so not flat. I just feel like a kid when I discover like a new place here. This city has such an interesting history of how it was settled, and by biking I kind of uncover just all kinds of kind of hidden treasures. This city could be a dangerous city for cycling for just kind of those reasons that you find in a lot of major cities. It just wasn't designed thinking about cyclists. Bike lanes sort of have a way of ending. There are so many different buses, car doors, tourists, people that are taking lefts when they meant to take rights, cutting across 3 lanes of traffic, potholes, you name it, we have that obstacle here. After 11 years of living here, it's been fun. It's like onion layers where it just peels off. Like roads lead to gravel roads, and gravel roads lead to dirt roads that lead to dirt trails, and you can kind of just keep going. I think the vastness of LA means that there's always going to be a new place to explore. As you pedal out of town into the mountains, you shed all the craziness of everything that happened during the day, all the emails, the phone calls, the honking horns, the sirens, all of that kind of gets left behind, and you can really go to a place that's quiet. You really can find quiet here. The best gift is being able to ride this city on a bike. I think there's always something left to go back to. There's always going to be a turn you didn't take and a mountain you didn't climb. So unless I can ride till I'm 250 years old, I probably won't see it all.
pretty good one.
Sneaking up behind you.
One quick, I'll be right back.
Okay.
Well, I don't want to take you away from dinner. Sorry, I did it again.
What?
Okay. I didn't want to take you away from dinner, but we have a very packed program of great things. So I'm excited to get the program going here. I do not want to stop your conversations, but I promise it's going to be great. So, how's everyone doing? Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, what a day. It's just been great. Thank you to everyone that's been sharing on the Twitter, the hashtag NBS18, and you know we're excited to see that going out to the folks at home. Again, I have to give a special thanks to our sponsors. We couldn't do it without you. Big thanks to New Belgium for the finest produce and, you know, making this great and get to watch all these awesome videos. Get to see a few more tonight, I'm excited to say. So I just want to take a few minutes to, again, thank you for being here. We're seeing and feeling the energy and inspiration that comes from gathering together. We're honored to be hosting you here again and want to be the place where, you know, these connections are being made and really a hub for helping you grow your bicycling advocacy and education work. So I want to thank you for being present, but also representing all of those that are back at home that you represent day in, day out, there and here. So thanks for all you do. Yeah, and we all know showing up matters, right? So both here on the Hill on Wednesday, at home when you lead classes, when you lead rides, when you show up at that public meeting, it was hard to get to, and really bringing a broad team together that makes the positive change happen, and making our shared work to make bicycling better for all possible. Similarly, the drivetrain of our work at the federal level is individuals who are willing to raise their voices here in Washington, D.C. And it's easy, I think, to be discouraged about the effectiveness of this work. To many people, no matter which side of the political spectrum you're on, the deadlock and inaction can seem like an insurmountable wall. In these somewhat crazy times, we should see the opportunity to change hearts and minds. And I know it's easy for me to say that, but we all know, we really know, that bicycling brings people together. And yeah. And you know, we've seen that in our communities. It's not easy, I don't want to say that, but it takes us thinking about ourselves, not exclusively, but gathering a big team to ride towards a future that's not really about the bike, but it has a whole lot of bikes in it. Building this truly authentic bicycling culture, like any culture, is in the stories we tell ourselves about ourselves. What kind of culture are we building together? I ask these questions, I think we ask ourselves as a staff. How do we help make the circle get wider? We must have a story about the connections, about a truly inclusive culture. So I hope you're as excited as we are about the possibilities to get the bicycle-friendly America that everyone deserves. Thanks for riding with us. Thanks for everything you do in your towns. Thanks for being here and showing up. So now it's my pleasure to introduce Bob Ratcliffe for a special presentation. Bob is the Division Chief of the National Park Service Conservation, Recreation, and Community Assistance Program. For the last 3 years, Bob has overseen the widely recognized Recreational Trails and Conservation Assistance Program, the National Trails and National Rivers programs, among others. These innovative programs help fulfill the National Park Service mission in working with partners to extend benefits to parks, recreation, and conservation to communities across the country. Previously, Bob served for 24 years at the Bureau of Land Management in a variety of fields in national leadership roles, including over a dozen years as Deputy Assistant Director for Resources and Planning and Division Chief for the National Recreation and Visitor Services Program. We're very grateful for him being here tonight and also coming up and recognizing some good friends of ours. Bob?
Thank you, Bill, and thanks to the Summit team for giving us an opportunity to express our thanks to what all you do in making the world more bike-friendly, and specifically the Adventure Cycling Association. But before I do that, raise your hand. How many of you have biked in a park recently? That's what I want to see. That's excellent. All right. Again, thanks. There's so much we're trying to do in the Park Service during our centennial to recognize the value of parks for a broad spectrum of recreational uses and activities, including making them more accessible and bike-friendly. And so this is something that we've been very proud of in working with our bike partners. Many of them are in the room here. But we wanted to share a Centennial Award. How many of you know we turned 100 years old last year? That's nothing. It's the second 100 years I'm worried about, actually, but we could talk later about that. But one of our premier centennial partners has been the Adventure Cycling Association. I want to call up Jim Sayer and Ginny Sullivan of your own crowd here to acknowledge some of the work they've been doing. Now, many of you may have heard about Bike Your Park Day. How many have gone out and biked your park day? All right. Which happens on National Public Lands Day every year. And we hope to continue that into perpetuity, as far as I can tell. And we're very excited that this annual event is something that's been embraced by the Park Service and the Department of Interior. There's actually a few cyclists embedded in the new administration, so that's a good thing. But Bike Your Park Day is going to continue every year, and we're very excited about that. And then I also want to recognize the work that ACA and many of the others here have helped us with is this People-Powered Parks initiative and concept, moving forward with making our parks and our public lands more accessible to pedestrian and bicycle activity, especially around car-free days and activities where roads and opportunities to see the parks at a human pace is available to more of the public on a regular basis. And many of our communities have embraced the People-Powered Parks initiative, and ACA has really helped us do that. So with that, I want to thank again the work that Ginny, and I want to shout out to Sarah too, and Jim and the gang. They have really helped us, I think, institutionalize the idea about parks, park planning, park access, and park and infrastructure that can accommodate bikes. So again, thank you very much, you guys. And I do have an award, a big fancy award, which we only gave to a few centennial people. You're with me. So with that, thank you, and appreciate your partnership. All right.
All right, so they did give us like a minute and a half to talk. Thank you. First, I do really want to say Ginny is a driving force behind so much of our advocacy work. Only the 10% of you who have never been to a bike summit before have not met her and know her energy. But we couldn't do what we do without her and Sarah Snow, who also works in our Missoula mothership. I just want to say I am fueled by passion for this movement. I've been at Adventure Cycling for 13 years now as director. And I know so many people in the room, and I just want to say thank you for keeping this summit going. I want to say thanks to the League for keeping this summit going. I was saying to Karen Whitaker earlier that our job after this is to double the number of people who come next year, because this is the gathering place for bike advocates. We should be getting more. I'm glad there are some industry people here, but there are not nearly enough. This really should be the gathering place for all of us who care about bicycling in the United States of America. So I just want to say thank you for doing that. I'm also fueled by New Belgium beer. Thank you very much for... But please, next year bring me Ranger IPA. I love that beer. And so I just want to conclude by saying, I don't know if we can show the logos, but as Bob said, Bike Your Park Day, we have put on for 2 years now an amazing couple of events that anybody here can participate in, especially if you have an organization. Bike Travel Weekend, which is coming up June 1st through 3rd, first weekend of June. It's DIY events that you can organize yourself and get somebody on a bike trip. It does not have to be across the country or around the world. It can be for one night from your front door 10 miles away to a park or some other destination. So I know many of you have participated. How many have done Bike Travel Weekend? Ooh, not nearly enough. Okay, so come on, this is a chance to take your kid or your grandkid or your niece or nephew or just your best friend or somebody you meet at a bar. Come on, let's do it. Come on, this is bike advocacy and outreach. Okay, so that's June 1st through 3rd. And then Bike Your Park Day is the last Saturday of September. So that is September 29th, 2018 this year. And that can be national park, state park, public lands. It's Public Lands Day, so it's free admission usually to the national parks. So please do a bike ride in through to, take the weekend. But this is a way to show waves of cyclists enjoying America. Thank you so much for being here. It's such a great honor to be part of this movement.
I want to go to the Missoula mothership. Seriously. Da-da. Yeah. And I also need to be more fueled by New Belgium. Next up, the League is really excited in 2017, we brought the National Bike Challenge back into the League as a program, and we were really, really happy to get the support of 3M, Alta Planning Design, Kimberly Clark, among others, and all of you who rode to make it possible in promoting the challenge as a very successful campaign. I want to recognize first all the winners of the 2017 National Bike Challenge. I know a few of you are here, so please stand as I call your names. The individual challenge was Amanda Coker. I don't think Amanda's with us today. Advocacy Challenge, Bike Youngstown. You here with us tonight, Youngstown? Anybody? Anybody? No? Bike Shop, Richardson Bike Mart. Woo! Richardson. The business was a 3M Bicycle Users Group. 3M. All right. The university was Utah State University. Anyone? Anyone? All right. Community, Lincoln, Nebraska. All right, Lincoln. They're having their summit right now in Nebraska, actually. To work on the timing next year with them. State, Wisconsin. Anybody from Wisconsin? Woo! All right. And the bike club is the Shawnee Trail Cycling Club. Yeah, all right, all right. And we'll hear from, a little foreshadowing, we'll hear from you in a minute. So thanks for riding. We have some exciting updates in 2018. I'm really happy to be bringing Thomas Stokel, who's the CEO of Love to Ride, up to tell you more about it. Thanks, Thomas.
All right, well, thank you. Good evening. Who here has taken part in the National Bike Challenge in the past? Very good. Well, that's the first question. Second question, who here wants to get more people riding bikes in their community? Okay, okay. We're going to get a correlation there. By the way, this, when I click my fingers, I won't do it because I've got a Bluetooth connection to Steve's eyes, and he will move the slides automatically when I click my fingers. So there we go. We want to get more people riding bikes, and to do that, we need to get more existing riders taking part in the National Bike Challenge. By getting the existing rider community together, we can give them a tool that makes it easy and fun to get their friends and colleagues to back on a bike. So we're making a few changes this year to help us grow the challenge. The first change, as you'll see here, is that we've added some new ways of earning points. You get points for riding. Every mile is a point, every day is a point. But now you get points for encouraging your friends and colleagues to ride. So that's very cool. We're excited about that. We're also going to make it shorter and sweeter, or as I like to say, punchier and more exciting. That's how you say punchier and more exciting in sign. All right, cool. So we're also making it easier to understand. So once was this 5-month-long marathon, and it's hard enough to keep people's attention for 5 minutes, let alone 5 months. And so we've got 2-month-long challenges, and I'll go over those in a second. All right, a slow clap. Yeah! Woo! And it's now easy to understand. So instead of being like, you could do a league, a team challenge, you could do a workplace thing, we've divided it into a team challenge in May, workplace challenge September. The next thing we're doing is getting more organizations truly bought into the challenge, owning it locally, owning it in their workplace, and we're bringing in more money to help grow it and make it as successful as we all want this program to be. So here we go, May, we've got the Team Bike Challenge, September, the Workplace Bike Challenge. A little bit, whoa, we've got prizes. Oh my gosh, guys. Does anyone want to go to New Zealand? Okay, a few people do, that's good. So the challenge is brought to you by 3M, the League, and Love to Ride, and other sponsors. Just a couple of words quickly on the Team Bike Challenge. In May, you can have a team of up to 8 riders. It can be friends, family, colleagues, whoever you want to join your team. You get points, as I indicated before, but now instead of your team competing on a list of like hundreds of teams and you're like 76th place and not very motivated to go because you're 76th, you're now in a pool of 10 teams. So you've got a pretty high chance of getting into first, second, or third by riding and by encouraging others to ride. So this is what I mean by punchier and more exciting. Right on. Cool. You can get a local site for your community, for your business. And finally, if you want to know more, we've got a booth right by registration. I have some little business cards. You could take back a little stack to your community and put them in your bike shop, give them to your friends. And you can always get in touch with us at hello@lovetoride.net. We look forward to riding with you this May, this year. Happy Summit and happy Bike Challenge. Thank you.
Wow. That's some Does it work for me? No. Okay. No, I was like, yeah. He's just like, no. All right. Thank you so much, Thomas. We're really, really excited to be partnering with Love to Ride. It is going to be awesome. So now we have the annual League Awards to give out to some excellent people, leaders in our movement. First up is Club of the Year. Dun, dun, dun. This award is given to a bicycle club that has done an excellent job providing a great experience for its members and for people who are new to bicycling. The goal of this award is to recognize clubs that do an exceptional job at integrating advocacy into club activities and supporting advocacy organizations while creating exceptional new events for new and experienced riders. Congrats to the Shawnee Trail Cycling Club. Joel Hoback, president of the club, please join me on stage to accept this award. Shawnee Trail Cycling Club is one of the fastest growing cycling organizations in North Texas. I'll have you come over here, maybe, yeah, and yeah, here you go. And I don't know if we can, this is a good place, or you want to come over here? Okay. All right.
Got to wear the jersey.
And I just got to say, Shawnee Trail has been leading in education and advocacy at the local level, and we're so happy to recognize you with this award. Thanks for everything you do. Yeah, please say a few words.
And the reason I brought the laptop is he only gave me a minute. So anybody that knows me, I don't do my pre-rides in less than a minute. Shawnee Trail, for those of you that don't know, we started in 2009. The name came from the Shawnee Trail Cattle Drive. It goes up through the middle of Texas. So right, the old cattle drive, they used to make a stop in Frisco. So we wanted something that tied the club back to transportation history and looked ahead. We're sitting about 700 members. We have group rides from the club 6 days a week, 5 nights. So night rides are pretty much our specialty, and we do that year round. We're fortunate in Texas that we have the weather we can do that with. Frisco, a little bit of notation there, Frisco Plano area. We're home to Toyota, FedEx, Dallas Stars, and we're now the world headquarters for the Dallas Cowboys. I can hit their headquarters with a rock, so no booze. Shawnee Trail does a lot of our own advocacy. We have a ride marshal program, education, traffic skills. We do our own beginner road riders class where we familiarize people with the laws and group riding. Bike valets, we do adopt a streets with the communities around. We run a network of bike-friendly Facebook pages to reach out to the non-club cyclist. We've got about 10 of those that we administrate. And we also do something we're very proud of. It's a donation program where we donate bike racks and repair stands to local communities. We've currently got about 50 of those across North Texas. And included in that, we had a couple of years ago a request from a local bike shop to donate to the Salvation Army in Dallas. And one of the things that we weren't aware of, and if you've got a Salvation Army in your city, be sure and check it out. They actually have a dormitory where they house 300 veterans. And these people are there, some of them suffering from drug abuse, some of them just get out of the military trying to get it back on their feet, and their only mode of transportation is bicycles. So if you can provide bike racks, repair stands, whatever you can for those, you need to help those out. Don't have our logo up. If you'll notice the main slogan of Shawnee Trail, want to make sure when you leave here, follow what we do and just ride your bike. And thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Bill. And we can send that back for you if you want.
Actually, brother, extra seat, please.
All right, great. Good. Cool. Well, thank you so much. So next up is the Emerging Leader. So this award is special recognition for a young person who is new to the bicycling movement or, has been doing it maybe in a volunteer capacity for a long time and has demonstrated exceptional and inspiring bicycling advocacy. So we're happy to present this award to Brandon Alvarado. Please join us on stage. Hey, all right. So League staff has been working with Brandon for a number of years as a volunteer advocate in his community in San Jose, California. His work with the League started when he helped his local Chamber of Commerce become a bicycle-friendly business, and he has since helped a number of local bike shops in San Jose State apply for the Bicycle Friendly America program. So we're happy to hear that you were recently hired to help LinkedIn move up their rankings in the Bicycle Friendly Business Award. So, gosh, congratulations. Want to say a few words? Yeah. Yeah, good.
Can you guys hear me? Mic check, mic check, mic check, mic check. All right, so I like to believe that we are all a compilation of the people that we meet and the experiences that we have in our lives. And I want to thank you all for being a part of this experience for me. Is our pictures up? No. I thought there would be a picture up here. Okay, so the picture was of me carrying a Christmas tree, and the point of that picture was to show that anything is possible by bicycle. My motor vehicle was in the shop during Christmas time, and it was the first time in many years that I had bought a Christmas tree, and I didn't let that stop me. I asked some people for a cargo bike borrowing or a trailer, but it was only like 1.1 miles away, so I just figured out a way to carry it on my bike back home, and I did use a helmet, so that picture's not very representative. But I just want to thank you all for being a part of this experience, because I don't believe that I would be here without all of your guys' support in getting me here. I think this is a group effort, and the list of thank yous that I have is way too long, so I'll cut it short to the League of American Bicyclists that made this opportunity possible, this event and everything. Everybody who supported me to come out here to last year's event is somebody that I really appreciate. I did want to have a picture of me carrying my bicycle with my hand over some water because I had been flooded out of my home a couple weeks before last year's event. So last year's summit was the first year I attended, and I really had to ask myself how important this was when I was living out of a hotel and needed to find a new home. And the picture that I wanted displayed illustrated two things: how important the bicycle is to me as an individual, because my bicycle was like the first thing I thought of when I was getting out of my flood. But the second thing was that how important events like this and people like you are to this bicycle movement, because I still came out here to DC even though I was living out of a hotel and homeless and looking for a home. I didn't mean this to be a pity story, but it's true that you guys are the community that I believe in, and so it's important that we all work together to push more people getting butts on bikes. The last two people I just want to thank, and again, I can't thank everyone. You guys are all awesome. There's a lot of people that helped me get here, but the last two people is I want to thank Tim Potter, who's sitting here in the audience today, who really helped me come to last year's event. He's a bike leader himself, and I wouldn't have probably been involved with this community to the level I would have if it wasn't for Tim Potter, who's sitting right there, just to put him on blast. And lastly, I just wanted to thank whoever it was, I have a hunch, who nominated me for this award. It's really an amazing experience to be a part of this movement, and because of somebody who nominated me and the group that made that possible. So thank you all so much, and I look forward to meeting as much of you as I can over the next couple days. I'm from San Jose, California, so I want to take back all the information that I can to make my community better, but really it's our community better. So thank you so much. Have a great night.
There you go. Thanks so much. Oh, yeah, awesome. So next up is our Susie Stevens Joyful Enthusiasm Award. So this award commemorates Susie Stevens, who is one of the Alliance for Biking and Walking founders and an enduring inspiration for many members of the bicycle and pedestrian movement. The honor goes to an individual group who carries on Susie's passion for advocating for bicycling as a fun and economical means of transportation. So we're very happy to present the award to Christine Acosta, who is the executive director of Walk Bike Tampa Bay and the founder of the Pedal Power Promoters, LLC. Christine started in her professional life in hospitality and finance, and then we got her. And as I said, she's the founder of the Pedal Power Promoters and has spearheaded bicycle-friendly initiatives in my home state, in the Tampa Bay area. You became executive director of the nonprofit Bike Walk Tampa Bay in 2016 and has used bike share and the like in 16 cities in 8 countries. Wow. Thanks so much.
I'd like to thank the Academy. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong speech. 4 years ago, I didn't know anything about bicycle infrastructure. I did not know about the League of American Bicyclists. And except for my amazing big sister, Ann, who's here tonight to support me, say hi, Ann. I didn't know any of the people in this room. I just knew that riding my bike was and still is my favorite mode of transportation. This is such an amazing honor, and I am filled with gratitude for everyone who has encouraged and taught me. I don't speak engineering, but I'm learning. I humbly ask that you continue to do so, to teach me and encourage me, so that together we can achieve our goals of normalizing biking as a mode of transportation and saving lives through crash and chronic disease prevention. Thank you so much.
Oh, gosh, thanks, great. Next up is our Gail and Jim Spann Educator of the Year Award. So this award recognizes a person that has worked to elevate biking education in their state or community. We look for educators who are current LCIs, league cycling instructors. How many LCIs do we have in the room here? I just want to know. Wow, yes, awesome. Me too. Fantastic. So who have shown innovation in their education work. So we're very thrilled to announce Rich Conroy, who's the Education Director of Bike New York, as the recipient of the 2018 award. Please join me on stage. So I've known Rich a long time. Rich has been the Director of Education since starting at Bike New York in 2004. He has a master's and a doctorate from Notre Dame. And his bike industry experience includes working for Metro Bicycles in New York City, teaching middle school kids for Recycle a Bicycle, in addition to being a league cycling instructor and an LCI coach. So he gets to make LCIs. He's also a board member for the New York Bicycling Coalition. Thought I'd get that in. He has a brilliant, wonderful daughter and 2 cats who are nice, but not so brilliant. Bike New York's education program has reached 26,000 New Yorkers with free classes and programming in 2017. So, take it away.
Other than that, we don't have much going on. So what I love about being a league cycling instructor and the education director at Bike New York is bike education empowers first-time cyclists or people coming back to the activity after not having done it for a long time. And you can see immediate results in people's lives, and I'm into instant gratification that way. So just a few words of thanks. When I started at Bike New York, Bill Nesper was the education director at the league. When I started as a coach, Preston Tyree was the education director, and he helped me become a coach. And we've had amazing success at Bike New York with our Learn to Ride and other programs, our youth programs. And we couldn't do that with the staff that we have that do outreach, that let people know what we've got going on. And Ken Podziba, our CEO, who's a board member of the league, has resourced our education program so that I feel like I'm, you know, in a wonderland of riches in terms of resources. So, and we have some amazing staff who've helped build our program to where it's at. So thanks to everyone, because these things just don't happen by themselves.
So next up is Advocacy Organization of the Year. Right, yeah, that's awesome. This award goes to the Bicycling or Walking Advocacy Organization or club in the past year that's made significant progress. Their leaders have worked tirelessly together to grow and strengthen their organization and fulfill their mission. This award is about recognizing organizations that are inclusive, welcoming, and committed to growing bicycling. We're very excited to be presenting the award this year to the sorry. I swear I didn't mean to do that, sorry. Rewind. The New Jersey Bike and Walk Coalition. Yeah, all right. Cindy Steiner, who's the executive director, please come up and receive the award. The New Jersey Bike and Walk Coalition, founded in 2009, has had many advocacy wins in the last 5 years. These include the complete streets rebuild of Route 35 at the Jersey Shore after Hurricane Sandy, improved access and substantial safety improvements to the bicycle paths on the George Washington Bridge, and a new bike lane implementation policy for Monmouth County, creation of the state's regional TAP program, and organization of the annual New Jersey Bike and Walk Summit, now in its 9th year. New Jersey Bike and Walk Coalition's recent win in the passage is the passage in 2018 of a bill which requires the state driver's education course, manual, and license exam to include bike rider and pedestrian safety information. Thank you so much for the work you do, and I'm sorry about that.
Okay.
It's like the New York Giants, right?
This is incredible. I asked Les Leatham, our education director, to join, or coordinator, to come up here with me because we don't do this alone. We're 5 staff, and I think you all know this is a collaboration, and no one is stronger than the whole team together. So Les is also a LCI coach in addition to being our education coordinator, so I wanted him up here with me. So thank you. I want to thank the league. I got the email the other day and nearly fell over. I wanted to cry. I've only been at this 5.5 years. And I've been to every summit since then, and I'd seen other organizations when I thought, God, you know, one day, like 15 years or 20 years down the road, maybe I'll be up there. And I got the note, and I just couldn't believe it. The note I wrote back to Bill was I wanted to cry. So I truly appreciate it. I want to thank my board. I thank my staff. We're up to 5 staff members now, which is really something very exciting since we've only been around since 2009. And then there's one special person I really want to thank that got me inspired. Where's Jeff Miller? Is he here? Did he leave? There he is. Jeff Miller spoke at the February 2012 New Jersey Bike and Walk Summit when I had no idea anything about advocacy, and he just really nailed it. He presented the Alliance for Biking and Walking's benchmarking report, and after that presentation I said, I have to do this for a living, and I finished my 2nd master's and I went and got this job, and I've been at it ever since. So I owe Jeff Miller did it, so thank you so much, Jeff. And the last thing I want to say is I think the biggest compliment that any of you could get in this work, and I've gotten it twice in the last 2 months, is that the work you do saves lives. And that's what you should always remember. When the going gets tough, that's what you're doing. You're saving lives. So thank you very much. I truly appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So the last award for tonight is the Advocate of the Year Award. So this award goes to a leader of a bicycling or walking organization who has shown tireless commitment to promoting bicycling and walking in his or her state. This person goes above and beyond the call of duty to transform their state or community into a great place for biking and walking. His or her time, knowledge, creativity, and commitment are the highest standard of excellence, exemplifying a role model for peers. We're so thrilled to present this award to Robin Stallings, Executive Director of Bike Texas. Come up and accept the award, Robin. So Robin has served as Executive Director of Bike Texas since 2003. Under his leadership, Bike Texas played a key role in getting over $800 million in funding at the local and federal levels for trails, sidewalks, and bike lanes. Bike Texas Safe Cyclist curriculum has been taught to over 2 million children. In over 25 Texas cities have passed ordinances and adopted policies to improve biking and walking. Robin has approached advocacy as an entrepreneur, developing multiple sustainable income streams. Many of us are trying to, follow those leads, including license plates available through the Texas DMV, bicycle pedestrian safety books, and renting a fleet of bikes. In 2018, Bike Texas bought a half acre of Austin commercial property for a future headquarters. Robin is married to the 2002 League of American Bicyclists Bicycle Advocate of the Year, Gail Cummins.
Those of you know me know that I'm pretty shy. I'm generally at a loss for words. And I just want to say that I am almost speechless. This is about the most significant award that, for me, I think I could ever get. I, like Cindy, nearly cried when I got the news. And lest I get too full of myself, because frankly, I think it's about the most important award that exists, that my dear wife reminded me that she got it 16 years before I did. So there's not a lot of risk that I'm going to get puffed up at home. So thank you so much. There are so many worthy advocates here. I learn every time I come to this. I've been coming to almost all of the National Bike Summits, and it's inspired us to create, humble facsimiles back in Texas. But this is where we see the best advocates coming out of, the ones that come back to Texas and are the most effective at the local level. Frequently, we saw them in action here. We saw they behaved in the congressional offices, and we think this is the place to be. And I can tell every time I come and I meet my colleagues, the fellow executive directors of some of these other groups, I have to say I'm in awe, and I just, it makes me go back to try to figure out what can we possibly do to keep up with these folks. It's just incredible from the work, just Cindy and how, what a short time she's been, or the work that they've done in Georgia and big challenges. And I'm constantly in awe of California. There's just so much talent in this room and the work that's been done that we have a big place and we have big challenges in Texas. But thanks to you all, I've been able to stay on this. Now 14 and a half years as executive director, but I thought about this earlier and I tried to figure out when did I start as a bike advocate, because my wife got it after just a few years of being bike advocate. Cindy obviously is a quick study. I helped found my first bicycle club in 1971. I was 14 years old, and I was an officer of the Dallas Bicycle Racing Club that has since become the Greater Dallas Bicyclists. And so that's 47 years with a couple of breaks in bike advocacy in there, but I've pretty much been involved with bicycling pretty seriously ever since. And mostly I've been the bridesmaid, but never the bride. I've been able to, help and assist, our organization with some recognition, leaders like my wife or, even the founder of our organization, Charlie Gandy, a former Educator of the Year, Preston Tyree at Bike Texas, where I was able to play bit roles and really watch how some of the best operate. But I have to say, I've been following Bill since he was a pup, since he first started here. Seemed young to me anyway. And the league, I think, is such an important voice and provides leadership, with the work that Karen has been doing, that Ken has been doing. We couldn't accomplish near what we do at the state level without them kind of providing that roadmap at the national level. And I just want to thank all of you all, and that's all I've got to say. Thank you so much.
Wow. Thanks, Robin. Oh, everything okay over there? So next up, I'm going to introduce Kim Jordan, who is, get ready. It's my honor to introduce her as our keynote speaker for the evening. But first I'm going to introduce her, then we're going to see a clip, these amazing clips, these inspiring clips that we see from New Belgium Brewing Company, and then she'll come on. So it's my honor to introduce her as our keynote speaker this evening. She is the co-founder and chair of the board and former CEO of New Belgium Brewing Company. Her lifelong commitment to developing healthy communities has informed New Belgium's culture through progressive policies like employee ownership, open book management, and philanthropic giving. Here we are. As co-founder and former CEO of New Belgium, she continues to play an active role in the company's culture, branding, and strategy development as executive chair of New Belgium's board of directors. Kim currently sits on the Colorado State University's Board of Governors and on the Advanced Energy Economy Board based in California. Kim continues to live the core values and beliefs she founded in New Belgium through the actions of her family foundation, which supports work in alternative transportation, sustainable agriculture, water conservation, public land conservation, climate and energy issues, and youth engagement. So thank you so much for being here with us tonight. We're going to watch a clip and then get to hear from Kim.
The Ramble Ride sounded like fun. The idea that we can go out in the woods and have an adventure and be with our pals, that's something that doesn't come around very often.
Going into the Ramble Ride, I expected a good crew, good company, definitely challenging times, but victorious moments. Those were all there.
Bike touring and bike packing has really taught me to trust my instincts and really just try something out of my comfort zone.
Difficulty-wise, it's every man or woman for themselves.
Bicycles bring people together, and bicycles take people places. There's a shared sense of accomplishment. There's a shared sense of fun that is so much better when you're meeting new people.
There's just this very cool sense of, I'm going somewhere. I don't know what's around the corner. I don't know how the landscape's gonna change, and that keeps me going.
Good evening. Let's see if I can get this started here. My friends in the back there, thank you so much for your help. Good evening. I'm so glad to be here among all of these people who are doing such fabulous work. I want to say congratulations to the different sectors of the industry that received awards today. Robin, you were sitting, congratulations. I think Family Harmony's gonna, proceed with you finally after 47 years. It's a good thing that that wasn't a big issue for you, so. I'd also like to thank my coworkers, Brian Simpson and Ryan McKee, John Yeast, Michael Kraft, Leah Pilser, and for all of their help in putting this presentation together. Things change quickly, and it's always nice to have people say, no, we're not doing this, but we are doing this, and those kinds of things. So the last year has been an interesting mashup of forces. Business leaders are resetting their expectation for their businesses and for their role in environmental and social change. Heck, the last 2 weeks have been pretty darn interesting as well. And I've been thinking about that interplay between businesses, advocacy organizations, policy makers, and so maybe my talk today is about actions big and small. It's going to take all sectors and sizes to work on the issues that face us for our, network of bicycling advocacy and also for the planet. Of course, there are lots of reasons that New Belgium that are obvious to you that we promote cycling. But we also see our role as one of business as a change maker. New Belgium has been a platinum level bicycle-friendly business since 2009, and Bicycle Magazine awarded us the Business of the Year award in 2017. And we were the League of American Bicyclists' first platinum, is that right, platinum level business that was designated outside of the cycling industry. And that has a lot to do with our culture. I have another sort of theme that's been rattling around in my head lately, and it's you never know where your actions will lead, and I'll touch on that more later. Today I'm going to talk about New Belgium, what we've done and why. Toward the beginning, I'm going to kind of go through some of the things that set the context of our culture kind of writ large. And then mostly I'll focus on all things bicycle and our love therefore. I'm going to start with a tiny bit of history because it's certainly germane to this audience. We were born on a bike seat. My then husband, Jeff Liebisch, took a bike ride through Europe. He rode on a mountain bike, but way back, this was in the 80s. Many of you remember back then that people often referred to mountain bikes as fat tire bikes. And so he was a home brewer. He came home, he brewed a batch of beer in honor of the trip, and he called it Fat Tire. So people told us that was a terrible name for a beer and we should reconsider. And the rest is history. And we got a little audio to go. That was ominous, wasn't it? I'm not sure what that was saying. Before Jeff and I ever made any beer, we went on a hike in Rocky Mountain National Park, and we talked about who we wanted this baby company to be, and we had, or beer, and we had those four things. And so that really, I think, to have fun and be environmental stewards are really at the core of New Belgium's ethos that informs all of the work that we do around bicycle advocacy. To set a bit of a larger context, companies like New Belgium, Patagonia, Cliff Bar, Stonyfield Farm, founders like Yvon Chouinard and Gary Erickson, Gary Hirschberg, myself, we were all raised in the 50s and 60s, and it was natural for us to think of our businesses as learning labs that would be consistent with our own values about how we wanted to show up in the world. So we were thinking about people, planet, and profits before sustainability was really, the kind of word that it is now. And that really, our desire to have a life that was congruent with our values was really easily transferred over into our businesses as well. Jeff and I realized that we didn't have anything about our coworkers or customers when we created those first four core values. We didn't have coworkers or customers. really. And so we had to circle back later and kind of recraft these with our coworkers, and this is our current 10 core values and beliefs. We had been in business for about a year when my coworker Mason Lathrop said to me, you know, I heard you talking about 1-year anniversary gifts, and given how important the bicycle is to us, I think we should give people a bicycle. And that was one of my first lessons. At that point, Mason worked on the packaging line, and it just sort of wandered through the front of the building, and you know, he gave me his opinion on many things many times over many years. And it was my first lesson in, wow, there are a lot of people here who have really great ideas. And so lo and behold, we started giving our coworkers a bike on their 1-year anniversary. Since then, we've added showers and locker facilities and stands and tools for our coworkers, stands and tools and free air for customers and people passing by, ample bike parking in all of, you know, the places where we can stash them, both the good ones and the ones in the corners that are for the last people in. We've had a bike-in movie for many years. The fundraising for that goes to a local nonprofit arts organization. We've been doing that since 2004. So over the years, the look of the bicycle has changed, in part because we built a second brewery in Asheville, and not the altitude as in, you know, net altitude, but the altitude up and down change of Asheville made us really think about, you know, what is a cruiser bike is not a suitable bike for commuters, even on the flats. And we really started thinking about, we're putting a lot of bikes in the world, and we want to make sure that they're bikes that people can ride. So these have internal hubs and are a much more suitable option for people who want to really use a bicycle for their daily commute. Several times a year, we bring in distributors for what we call beer school. I have a fair amount of experience with beer distributors. I'm guessing most of you do not, but I can tell you most of those people haven't been on a bicycle since they were very, very little. But it gives us an opportunity to take them out into the world, and you all know this. I don't always speak at bicycle organizations, but that joyful kid-like feeling you get when you throw your leg over the saddle and you head off down the road, it's just another way. This is, when I was sitting here, when I was sitting watching Steve, I said, note to self, don't use the word cry because it looks really terrible in see what I'm talking about, in sign language. So when you've worked at New Belgium for 5 years, the anniversary gift is a trip to Belgium. So we take our coworkers. I've gone, whoops, I went one too far there. I've gone to Belgium every year for the last 20-some years. We take our coworkers on a trip to Belgium, and not only, for many people, is it their first time to Europe, but it's the first time that they've been out on a day-long kind of cycle. So it's a really great opportunity to bond with people in a new and different kind of way and to watch them grow. I want to talk a little bit about who we are. Bill mentioned that we are 100% employee-owned. My sons and I sold the balance of the company to our coworkers in 2013. So it's pretty exciting for us. We've also just kind of gone along in an ad hoc way, doing all kinds of, we do a lot of work on on-site renewable energy and conservation, and really just trying to continuously make sure that our footprint is as small as we can make it. It's always a process. In 2006, we decided that we really needed to get more organized about that, and we put together an SMS program, which is a sustainability management management system, as well as to then really ramp up our on-site. We decided to internally tax ourselves for energy usage, and we've invested in a lot of both photovoltaic and combined heat and power anaerobic digesters that we're able to turn into electrical energy. And then we started measuring so that we could really hold ourselves accountable. And as a part of that, we joined B Corp, which is a group that requires that its members measure themselves every other year on both their community, employee engagement, environmental footprint. So we're pleased to say that B Corp has awarded us Best for the World status, which is exciting for us as an organization. So we were doing all of these things, and we realized that our practice was making a splash, but we were squandering that opportunity to make a ripple. And that really freed us to start to think about how we could talk about our energy usage, our water, you know, were we doing enough in cycling advocacy, a whole breadth of issues that are important to us at New Belgium. And we began to step out there into the public. If you live in the West, you may have seen our Skinny Dipping for Rivers campaign. It was a big hit in some areas. And we also threw, you know, we make beer. Beer is something that's attractive to people. And so, you know, we're not making door stops or mouse traps or, so we really realized that we could use our brand to do some interesting things. One of the things that we did, and this is sort of ties into my comment about you never know where your actions will lead you. When we started New Belgium in Fort Collins, Colorado in 1991, it was a pretty sleepy, fairly conservative town. There were a few of us who biked, but it really was not the phenomenon that it is now. And I've had other people tell me this, so I feel comfortable saying it. You know, you do these things, and pretty soon other people are doing similar things, and then you're attracting people who move to your town because they want to work for a company that does a lot of bicycle, you know, supporting the effort of bicycling. This is a project that we launched with the city where we convinced them to let us install bike racks in 5 parking spaces downtown. That was in 2009. 5 parking spaces. You'd think that we had, you know, invited a predecessor to Vladimir Putin to come in. You know, we were communists and socialists and really, really bad people who were going to wreck the city, and businesses were going to flounder and fail. And now it's like bicycling is just a part of the landscape and the fabric of the town. And so you, I'm sure he's funnier than I am. In case you're thinking that I think you're laughing at me, I know you're really laughing. You're laughing at me, you're laughing with him. So, but it's, you know, so when you have those moments when you doubt whether the work that you're doing is really having an effect on the community, remember that all of those little crumbs that you're laying out there will go somewhere, and that you're doing really good work, and that people will catch that. I'm going to mix my metaphors here, that spark, and they will blow on that and make it stronger than the good work that you put into that. So don't doubt your capability there. So we did a lot of work in making ripples. Let's see what's going to happen here. Next slide. And then we had coworkers who wanted to, we have a coworker who started a Cyclismo Youth Foundation, which is for kids in cycling. And we now do a cyclocross program for our co-workers in the spring and the fall, but also for people in, really in Colorado. And as I understand it, I'm not a cyclocross person, but as I understand it, it is one of the best programs, if in the state, certainly, if not in the West. And that's a matter of, you know, saying yes to things that, I mean, we did releases. For a while, we didn't sell beer, and then we thought, oh, heck, we might as well sell beer too. But it's really an opportunity. All the proceeds from the beer sale go to the foundation so that they can get more kids on bikes. So it's really been something that's been effective for us. For 20 years, we've supported Team Bob, which is Babes on Bikes. It's a women's biking group that's really powerful. National bike organizations like the League of American Bicyclists, IMBA, People for Bikes. But then, you know, we decided another way for us to reduce our national footprint was to put a brewery on the East Coast. So we went to Asheville, and we went there in part because we found a site that was very close to the center of the city. And for us, we want our coworkers to be able to live in community and to not get in a car to go to work every day, so that they have the opportunity. And that requires that the community, you know, embraces that as well. We are light manufacturing, but I think we need to kind of have a mindset here in America that where we live and where we work, you know, we need to try to seam those together as close as we can so that people can, you know, get onto an easy public transportation route, not one that takes them away from their families for an hour in the morning and an hour in the evening, or in their car and stop and go traffic for all of that time. So we picked Asheville. We picked this really fabulous site. It was a brownfield. We took off trucks and trucks and trucks of debris, and the city of Asheville was fabulous at helping us with that process and really working through the remediation of the site. We recycled a bunch of concrete that was on there. And then we have trucks that go between our distribution center and our brewery, and we took the opportunity to make the back of the trucks. This thing is leading a bit of a life of its own. The back of the trucks, billboards to be able to talk about communities where there's safe walking and safe cycling, because it was an easy thing to do and just another way that we can remind people of the power of community and walking and biking. I want to talk now a little bit about Tour de Fat. How many of you have been to a Tour de Fat? Thank you to those of you who have been. Tour de Fat took a little funny right turn, but I'm pleased to say it's back, and it's back maybe not in its full force, but my guess is we're going to see it as strong as it ever was, and even more so, right, Crafty? That's what's going to happen. Yeah. So if you haven't been to a Tour de Fat, one of the things we do is to find someone who is willing to give away their car and commit to riding a bicycle for a year. In that process, we have had more than 100 people through our Tour de Fats that have been in 45 cities, offer to do that. So we get them a really sweet geared bicycle and all the gear that they need to be able to ride in whatever community they live in. And we've raised $2.5 million for cycling advocacy through that program. Here's a little clip.
A little bit of churching up, you know. It's good every once in a while to be completely immersed by, you know, a mass of your peers that all say, hey, this is great. Remember how great this is?
In Fort Collins, Tour de Fat is described as better than Christmas and the best day of the year. It's 25,000 people on bicycles. I don't know if you've ever seen, and 2/3 of them probably in costumes. Half of those have got to be tutus. And I don't know if you've seen 12,500 people with wearing tutus riding down the street, but it is really quite a sight to behold. This is someone who agreed to trade in his car for a bike. So not only have we been the catalyst for a lot of money to help organizations, but also to improve transportation projects with, safe zones for bicycles, trail improvement, inspiration, community engagement and development, stronger neighborhoods, all of the things that you guys know are what we do as work together to promote the power and the beauty of the bicycle. We also believe that not only does it keep our community healthier, but it keeps our coworkers healthy. So I mentioned this earlier, but I'm sorry, I said that it was 2.5. It's actually 5 million. I was off by 100% there. So today you're a winner because it's actually $5 million. And that's in addition to the $9 million that we spend in our philanthropy program, which is for all kinds of different organizations. Speaking of philanthropy, it was mentioned earlier that my family, essentially, I'm really interested in the process of regenerative capital. And so my family, my boys and I have started the new Belgium Family Foundation, and was mentioned one of the things that we're really interested in is bikeable, walkable, livable cities. We not only do philanthropy, but we are equally interested in for-profit investment in the kinds of things that we think business has a role to play in making sure that we're moving the needle. And so this gives us the opportunity to look at, we primarily invest in renewable agriculture, local sustainable food systems, and renewable energy. But we do occasionally run across a bike project in the for-profit investment side of the family enterprise. And then we also do a lot of work. We have done a lot of funding with local groups, Bike Works in Seattle, People for Bikes in Boulder, a couple of other ones that escape me. So this has been really a part of our life's work to try to make sure that we're taking this incredible gift that we've gotten both as a family and as a company and focusing that work on some things that are really meaningful to us as an organization. So, a couple more are Mile High Connects in Denver, which is they do a lot of last mile transportation projects, and Spur in the Bay Area. So those are also two sort of more focused on community planning, but as you well know, that really dovetails with the work of safe cities for walkers and cyclists. So why do we do this? I was raised as a Quaker, and George Fox said, "Let your life speak." And I think that when I moved into the business world, I was a social worker before I was a business person, and it was a really magical surprise to me to realize that I could take this corporate life and have it serve as not only a parallel and well-matched mirror of my personal values, but we could also use New Belgium as a learning laboratory and a way to be a force for good and a role model for other people to consider. And it also makes going to work fun, and it makes meeting people at work who are in similar, like I wouldn't know these guys, Mike Kraft, John Yeast, Leah, I wouldn't know these people if it weren't for the attraction that New Belgium creates by doing interesting things in the process of also making beer, which is an ancient art form in and of itself. So I thank you for all of your incredible work. It is actions big and small. It's going to take all of us. We need to figure out, I think in some ways this last year has reminded all of us that there is no there. There is no one else who's coming to the rescue. It's up to us. I spoke at a climate leadership summit a couple of days ago, and you know, if you never got a lot of money, they used to get some money and they don't anymore. And I think what that's done is to galvanize the business community to say, we have to do this work ourselves because we're the people left to do it. And I hope that you see businesses reaching out to you to support this work, because I think in a weird kind of twisted magic, this may all turn out to be a very good thing for us. So that's my take on it. I'm really glad to be here in the nation's capital. I'm actually from here, so I learned to ride a bicycle in this very city. So I thank you so much, and I hope the rest of your conference really inspires you to go out there and ride your bike. Thanks very much.
Wow. Well, thank you, Kim, for being with us and for being a model company and investing in all these things that we hold to be true and the great work that we're doing, and of course for making awesome beer. So thanks for everything. So that's it for the evening. Thanks. We want to emphasize one thing. Okay, so last few years, we've started Tuesday really early, and we heard in survey after survey, don't. So so we heard you, okay? So and then we put 9 a.m. on the schedule. That means like seated at 9 a.m. if possible. We really need to be here. We have some tight schedules with our members of Congress. So, it's not 8 a.m., it's 9 here. And it really matters. It matters that you're here. It really matters to our members of Congress. Showing up tonight, for this whole event, but showing up tomorrow morning, I can't emphasize it enough. It really does matter. So thanks. We'll see you then. Oh, and thanks to Steve. Oh, thanks so much. Oh my God. So good. Yeah, so good. Tired, yeah.